So Abundance Deep Dive, day 2. Not what I expected from today, and it's great because I'm out of my element, so I do have some homework to do and kind of diving into this and figuring out what this means to me. We're talking about objective reality versus subjective reality, and basically creating a different point of view. And if I was to summarize it from my own understanding right now, of does the universe support us, or does the universe, are they out to get us? Is it somebody else that's kind of pulling the strings and we're like a puppet? If we look at it from the objective, that sometimes we can get stuck in the universe is handing us a raw deal. They're not out for our best benefit. It's just not a loving and supporting relationship, right? Versus creating our own kind of dream world, essentially, in subjective reality of what happens if everything that's happening and everything that's been given to me is a gift. Even challenges, even circumstances that I don't particularly appreciate or I can view as a negative consequence, what if that was for my benefit instead of being, dealt a raw deal? And that to me kind of blows my mind. I do believe that everything happens for a reason and all of that stuff, but it's taking it a step further. So he used the analogy of what if it was a dream world, this subjective reality, and we are a character in a movie and we're dealt with the same challenges and the same, shit situation in a movie. What would happen? And if you think about any movie, usually there's a villain, there's some kind of challenge or something, objective to get over. What if it was the same thing, but we had the capabilities of creating that for ourselves? So we could change those circumstances. We could either, get over it, use it to our advantage, become, a superhero, whatever that happens to be. And how much different would our life be? How much more fun would we be having instead? So, if it could be anything from, debt to health problems to whatever it happens to be. And then how do we use that to our advantage instead of disadvantage? And I thought about, how am I going to apply this to my own life, and what's my homework right now? Like, how am I even going to do this? So right now I'm going to list out all of the challenges, all of the shit circumstances, all of the stuff that I don't feel is going right in my life. And instead of looking at it from the perspective of the universe is, dealing me this raw deal, or they're just kind of flaked off on me and they're not even present. Because it's a lot easier when things are going right, then it's like, yes, thank you, universe, you got my back, I appreciate it. What happens when they're dealing the bad stuff, right? What if that's also the universe? And the non-action and the things that are the stagnant kind of energy is just the universe waiting for me to get it. Waiting for me to figure out the challenge, that I need to go through this experience. I need to become the superhero of my own story in order to move forward into whatever it is that I do want. Like, this is the doorway to get to what I want. And I even thinking about that right now, like, that blows my mind of, that could really be the answer. Like, just move through this challenge and I can choose how I want to do that. Do I want to become resentful and angry and bitter? Or do I want to maybe look at it as, this could be the ultimate gift? And all of these little things start to add up, and who might I become? And start brainstorming all of the potential ideas, not just the path that I want to choose, but what are the options that I could possibly take, and what might the universe be telling me? And just explore a whole bunch of positive what ifs. I don't know what's going to happen from that. And I'm right now, the energy around it is very optimistic, and I feel a lot better about it than I did going into this day. So in fact, there was a lot of guilt around, I'm not paying my rent and I don't have the money. So I'm like, okay, how can I make money, and how can I do this? Just the circumstance of not having the money for it, and what might that do for me? It's not that I'm saying, fuck you, I'm not going to pay rent. It's, I don't have it right now. I really want to pay it, but I don't have it. So just living in that moment, and what might that bring? Instead of the spin cycle of the shame and the guilt and I'm a fucking loser, what might happen instead? And who might I become just living in this situation right now? It's not forever. This is not permanent. I get that. And what might happen if I choose to frame it differently? So I'm super excited to go through all of this stuff. I'll keep you guys posted and let you know what I discover and what I figure out about myself. And obviously this isn't like, oh yeah, I'm just going to check this off my list and as soon as I do it, I'm going to be cured and everything is going to be hunky-dory. I don't think it works like quite that way, but it could. And how much faster might things progress if I chose to lean into the shit circumstances are actually a gift and the universe is being ridiculously patient with me while I figure it out. How much more different would my life be right now? And that gives me a lot of hope. So I'll keep you posted. I'm sitting in my messy car. I just got my oil changed and I thought, why not shoot a video while I'm in the car? I'm parked, so we don't have to worry about driving and shooting a video. But while it's still fresh, I was just doing some journaling about the follow-up of all of my crappy circumstances and the raw deal that the universe has dealt me, and what if that was a gift? So what might that look like instead? And I definitely was focusing on more of the challenges part, you know, the lack of funds, the fact that multiple classes and events have fallen through or been canceled, and kind of wallowing in that. Like, it's hard not to get discouraged when it keeps happening over and over again. So instead of focusing on the lack and the scarcity part, what was the gift inside of that? And I knew it, but I wasn't really grateful for it. So I really had to sit with it and realizing that when all of those things kind of fall through, I'm then gifted with an enormous amount of time, like so much time, and nothing is really interrupting me. So I've got hours and hours and hours to work on whatever I want. And I have been able to build my website and rebuild parts of the website over and over again as I tweak things. And just realizing too that in itself, you know, the inspiration that comes from that and the opportunity to evolve and reframe and also realign with what it is that I really want, my long-term goals, some of the bigger things that I want to accomplish. And also realizing that, you know, a lot of this I set out to achieve, you know, 5-10 years ago, and here I am, and it's happened. So now what? You know, I could continue down this life path and work and refine some of the strategies and make it even better, or I can kind of thank everything for its service and kind of fold everything up and put it in a book and put it on a shelf and just say, you know what, thank you so much, and I'm gonna open a new book and start a new chapter and create something completely different for my life. And I did some of that journaling as well of what might happen if I didn't teach anymore at all. What might I do with my time instead? What kinds of things do I want to learn? What kinds of things do I want to explore and experience? And that became like, whoa, like I've never even thought about what might I do with all of that time. That just blows my mind. So, you know, I'm looking at some of my face painting gear in the back, and it's stuff like that, figuring out how to do new things, taking new classes, and maybe recording it and filming it and sharing that with people along the way, so that if people are like, well, I don't know how to do that, it's like, well, you can watch me do it, because I've always got a list of things that I want to learn, and sometimes they don't pan out, sometimes it is not what I thought it would be, but I always try it, and I never know what the next big thing or the next, you know, step in my journey is going to be unless I take that risk. So I'm going to open that up a little bit more and kind of brainstorm and just leave that to be like a what if with the universe of, you know, maybe try that on for size. And similar to what Steve Pavlina was talking about in the objective versus subjective, really thinking about my life as in a character in a movie and kind of scripting out like alternative endings kind of thing. So sometimes there's, you know, an alternative plot twist and that leads down a different path, and kind of leaving it open of what do I like, what do I not like, and trying it on. And I'm not sure what it's going to look like down the road, but being able to shift and being in a what if mode is way better than being in scarcity. It is way better than being in this wallowing pit of despair and focusing on what I don't have, and instead thinking about what do I want and what do I want that to look like, and kind of putting in a more I don't know, refined order to the universe of, now that I figured it out, this is what I want. And being very clear and very, very concise, and just saying, yes, I'm ready for this. And I know that I'm not quite there. Almost, but not quite. And that's part of why things are kind of moving at a turtle speed. So at least I'm feeling optimistic about it again, and the kind of pit of despair is slowly starting to dissolve. I'm excited to see what tomorrow brings, because this was like not at all what I was thinking about, especially this morning, between objective and subjective, and some of his ideas are a little out there. But it makes sense, and it's different from just say your affirmations and the universe will deliver. It doesn't always work like that, especially when we are so stuck and wallowing and just in the spin cycle of bullshit and thinking about all of the crap that's going on. So there needs to be something to pull us out of that, and to be able to just kind of inject something different. And I feel like today was a great day. So looking forward to tomorrow.